Let's make some brine pickles. Hello everybody and welcome back. We're back at it with the pickle making today. My pickle plants are producing out of control right now, so I'm trying to keep up with them. If you were here a couple episodes ago, you might have seen this simple refrigerator pickle recipe I demonstrated. This is a classic brine pickle, so there's no vinegar involved here. It's just a proper salt to water ratio with the appropriate amount of pickles. So let me show you how it's done. So here I have about, this is probably 5 pounds of pickles, and I'm gonna prep these guys before we put them in my crock. You wanna trim off the flower end of the pickle. And we do that because the flower end contains enzymes that could break down the pickle faster. The stem you can leave on. If they're kind of long, I trim them off a little bit, but make sure you trim off that flower end. It goes a long way and help preserving the pickle. I like a nice crunchy pickle. This guy is an ideal size, I would say, for a pickle. I got some kind of big guys in here that, you know, I try to avoid, but you know, the pickles, it's like they're tiny one day, you go out the next day and they're like 4 times the size. Zucchini does the same thing. So we're gonna use them all. I'm gonna put the big guys in the bottom when we do it. They still come out delicious. It's just, this is sort of the preferred size, I would say. So look for pickling cucumbers about this size. So now we have our well scrubbed, clean, you want all sand or dirt off them, and trim pickles ready to go. So I should have noted that before I started trimming the pickles, I did get my brine ready. So this is a no boil brine, and the recipe on the screen is for a 1/2 gallon mason jar. I think here I'm doing about triple the recipe from what I have displayed on the screen, and I am using a larger vessel, but the recipe I'm sharing here with you today is for a 1/2 gallon mason jar, to note. So I dissolved my salt at room temperature with the water. So you want to do that before you prep your pickles, just for time and efficiency. So now what we're going to do is we are going to nestle our pickles down into my fermentation crock. This guy, again, I think it's about 1.5 gallon capacity, or 5.5 quarts, somewhere in that vicinity. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the bigger boys down in the bottom. Again, some of these pickles are a little bit larger than ideal, so I'm going to put them in the bottom so that they don't crush the smaller guys. So I'm going to get that going, and I'll show you when I return. Okie dokie, so we got our pickles nice and nestled down in there. I was able to get all of what I had, minus about 5 little guys, so that's okay. I will have more pickles tomorrow, and I can use those towards that batch. So now what we're gonna do is, my brine is completely dissolved. I'm gonna pour this brine over these pickles, and hopefully I made enough brine. If not, I'll just make another quick batch of the brine using the recipe that I had listed on the prior page. But I'm going to acquire a funnel, because I know if I try to pour this in freehand, it's gonna make a mess. I'm gonna grab a funnel. We are funneled up and ready to go. Right, so we're going to very carefully pour this, again, just salt and water brine. And I did have enough brine. In fact, I had a little residual, but that's okay. So what I like to do is give this guy a little bit of a shake, because I want to make sure, I want the brine to settle, because sometimes what happens is if you pour a brine over pickles and then it has a chance to settle, you'll notice that the brine level will drop significantly. So I'm just going to make sure, but I think we're good. Yep. I think we're good. Now these guys are delicious as is, just with the plain brine, but you could add some flavorings in here. I love a salty, garlicky pickle, so I have about 6 cloves of whacked garlic. I just smashed it with a knife. I didn't chop it or anything, but I'm just gonna put down in here. They'll make their way throughout the crock on their own. You could put some jalapeno pepper in here. That would be nice if you like a spicy pickle, or any kind of hot pepper really. Fermented peppers are delicious. I actually ferment hot peppers to make my own hot sauce, which I will be showing you at a later date when I get swarmed by the peppers. So you could add some peppercorns in here, mustard seed. You could put anything in here really to ferment along with the pickles. Anyway, be right back. So, some things you could throw in here to help maintain the crispness of your pickles: grape leaves or loose organic green tea leaves. They have a natural enzyme, I think it's an enzyme called alum. You can buy alum in like a white powdery form, but you know, if you could use natural items, why not? So you could throw a few grape leaves in here or some loose green tea leaves, and those are gonna help maintain the crispness. I forgot to pick some earlier this morning, so I'll just go out and get some later and throw it in. But let's continue forward. So now that our pickles and garlic are in here, we're gonna need to weigh these down to keep them submerged in the brine. I have a weight here. This came with 2, so it forms like a circle in there, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to fit both of them in there. I don't even know if I can fit this. I might have to remove this pickle. Yeah, we don't want to break this. Sorry. Man, tight fit. Don't do what I did. Take this into account before you pack your jar full. Give me a minute, I'll be right back. I fibbed a little. All but 9 pickles made it into the jar. I had to make some room for that weight. So anyway, our weight is in there, helping to hold those pickles down. So as you can see, I don't know if anybody saw my sauerkraut tutorial, but these crocks come with a rim around the middle, and we're gonna pour, probably fill the rim with about 1/3 of the way up with water, and then with the lid, it's gonna create a natural seal. So I'm gonna get that guy filled with some water. And this is it, my friends. It's ready to ferment. So brine pickles will take anywhere from 7 days to 3 weeks, sort of like the sauerkraut. Ideal pickling, like brine pickling, it's like 65 to 75 degrees. If you have a room that's sort of in that temperature zone, it's summer. It can be very hot in this house, so I anticipate this is gonna probably ferment pretty quickly. If you're doing this in a large clear mason jar, you will see in a couple days it'll start to bubble, almost look sort of fizzy in there. That's completely normal. That's the fermentation process beginning. These guys, I gotta check the water level on this rim probably every day or so, because it can evaporate pretty quickly. And then later today, I am going to go back in here and add a couple grape leaves really quickly. So that's it. It's fairly easy. Once you do things like this a couple times, it's just, you don't even have to think. You memorize the brine, it's a technique that you can pick up on pretty quickly. But I hope you learned something. I'm gonna check on these guys in a week and I will show you where we're at. And as always, thank you for joining me.